Day 2 of the vlog. Just waiting for that coffee to finish up brewing. So, did my journaling, my prayer, my gratitude. And I guess I'd kind of just like to talk to you guys about what I mean when I say getting my life back together. Obviously this is kind of embarrassing, but just being fully transparent with you guys, this room that I'm in right now is in my parents' basement. I'm a 28-year-old man living in my parents' basement, and this is not where I thought I would be. When I was 18, I moved out and I started working for myself and paying all of my bills and just getting it done. I worked at a local coffee shop. I made, $8-9 an hour, and rent was, I think, $375 a month, $400 a month. I had a roommate. I lived in a smaller room, so I paid less. And I'll tell you guys more. I'm not going to give you guys my whole life story now, but I moved out when I was 18, and I only ever moved back intermittently, like between apartments, between leases and stuff. I had some problems with that roommate and I had to move out of there, so I moved back with my parents for a month or two. But really for the last 10 years, I had been taking care of myself and figuring it out, making a little bit more, every couple years or so, to go with inflation. And eventually, I'll talk more about this again in the future. So like subscribe and stuff, because I'm going to give you guys my whole life story and everything that's led me to where I am now. So, I don't know, maybe you guys can learn from it, or maybe you can just be entertained by it. I don't know. I don't get to choose what you do with my content, right? But I actually worked my way to the top of a coffee company. I was one step down from essentially the top position that wasn't an owner. So I was the director of cafe operations for a local coffee company, and we had 7 cafes. And I was making $55,000 a year just as a start to kind of test the waters, see if I liked it, and then if that were to continue over the next couple of years, I was going to work my way towards about a 6-figure salary. I was going to make $70,000 a year the following year, and then my bonus was only going to get better, and I was only going to get more raises and all of that. So I was very happy when I got to that point. I was making about $45,000-$50,000 a year in the position previous, which was the director of espresso bar training and coffee knowledge for that company. So that was really fun. That was like the best job I think I've had yet. Even better than owning this business. It was, when I started in the coffee industry, it was the people that I saw in the coffee industry that I thought were the coolest, the most chill, the most successful and awesome people in the world. And I had become that previously, and then I stopped doing that to go back and manage cafes, not so much because of because I was making more money managing cafes than I was doing that. And then what felt really good was, after about 4 or 5 months of me going back to managing, instead of doing that, the company realized how valuable I was in that position. And they actually created more of a director role for it, a higher pay, like a much higher pay. I think it was $10,000-$12,000 more per year that they were offering me to come back and teach people how to make coffee. And I was stoked, man. That was my dream job, you know? And um, at the time, I was single. And I lived in a one-bedroom apartment, you know, that was pretty nice. It was right by the highway, so it was a little loud, but it was super easy to jet around all over the city to get everywhere because the entrance was literally right across the street from my apartment. I had garage parking, I had indoor heat and air conditioning. I didn't have a dishwasher or stainless steel appliances or anything like that, but like I had a nice, humble, beautiful to me apartment, and it had a mold problem, but you know, I dealt with it, right? I ran some dehumidifiers, I disinfect the windowsills where the mold was, and I loved my life. I was training for an Ironman. I was getting up and running and biking and swimming and lifting. I had a really solid group of friends that I went rock climbing with. I was making good money. We were going out for drinks and food after rock climbing, and I didn't have to worry about money, and I was saving up for traveling. I remember I had this flight and travel set up booked to Greece, and like a bunch of my friends and I were all going to go to Greece and just spend time on the beach. We got this Airbnb on the, I was like, man, that was life right there, you know? That was success. Friends, family, free time, dream job, hobbies, money, beautiful place to live, or at least, you know, whatever, a decent, humble apartment to live in. Yeah. That's when I had it together. My depression was completely gone, my anxiety was completely gone, everything had lifted off of me, and I remember I thought I was going to feel that way forever. I stopped going to therapy because things were going so well. And I weaned myself down from therapy. I'd gone to every other week, and I'd gone to every month, and then every other month, and then I was like, you know what? I think I'm done. I think I can do this, you know. And then the director of cafe operations decided to leave, and which was notorious for this company. I mean, they had a new director of operations every six to 8 months. And I was next in line, and you know, I was doing an amazing job. I literally never got negative feedback at my job because I did such a good job at it. I trust that if I was doing a bad job, they would tell me, and even more so now because of what happens next. But I took the promotion and I lost it all. I said yes for the power and the money, which at the time I told myself, you know, with more power, I get to do a better job and make a better work environment for everybody. And I've been a barista, so I know how hard it is, and I know what helped me succeed, and I can teach all these people this stuff. So maybe eventually they could be like me one day and work their way up in some other coffee company or in our coffee company. Um, but yeah, it ended up being too much. I don't know if I tried too hard or if I underestimated I underestimated the difficulty of working with the types of people that are at the entry level for coffee shops, but it ruined me. I started working all the time, 10, 12, 14-hour days, a lot of times on my feet. I lost my life, basically. I didn't have time to train for the Ironman anymore. I had to put that on the back burner and just say I was going to do it when things settled down at work. I stopped rock climbing. I just said work is really crazy right now. Once it settles down, I'll start rock climbing again. I stopped hanging out with my friends. I started getting negative feedback at work, which was a lot harder to cope with after not having any for like a year of doing an incredible job at a job that I absolutely loved to do. It was really hard to be doing a job that I wasn't enjoying and then getting a lot of negative feedback on things that I was doing wrong. And yeah, it all just started collapsing, and I had an absolute mental breakdown and had to start going back to therapy. And I had to figure out how to get out. It was absolutely necessary for me to get out. It was not optional. And so I finished up the lease that I was currently at, which I had about 10 months left on my lease, 10, 11 months left on my lease. And I moved back in with my parents. Other stuff happened, obviously. Like, I became a personal trainer. I started working at a gym, and all of that good stuff, which I'll tell you guys later, but this is already a really long story. Thank you for listening to the whole thing, if you have done that. But yeah, so that's what I mean by getting my life back together. I am a 28-year-old man living in my parents' basement, and I am trying to become what I once was with the job, the fulfillment, the hobbies, the friends, and all of that stuff. So this is me documenting that. I'll see you guys when I'm going for my run. All right, it's post-run. Got my electrolytes and creatine. I already took my supplement. And then basically that snack that I had yesterday, I'm just having that, but with an extra piece of peanut butter toast. Sorry if I sound like I'm rushing. I've got a client call in 4 minutes, so I'm going to enjoy this until that client call, take the client call, and then I'm probably going to finish this and get started on yesterday's video and hopefully have that out by noon today. All right, sweet. So got a tripod now, so the angle's a little bit better. Just had this sitting around. I'm still gonna fuck up the angle though. Yeah, video is uploading right now as we speak. There was a little hiccup, so it's 12:06 and I just got it out. It should be uploaded in like 15-20 minutes, so hopefully you watched that. If you haven't, go watch it. And while that was uploading, I decided to make some lunch, which this is delicious. I've already been eating some of it. But it's brown rice and quinoa, and then mushrooms, onions, and this Beyond Steak. I brought this to show you guys. Now, this stuff gets like a really bad rap. And like, I get it, it's not the healthiest thing in the world. But I mean, people think that they're full of all sorts of chemicals, and I think they just have never really read the ingredients. So this might be kind of boring, but I'm just going to read you guys the ingredients of this, because people are like, what is it made out of? And it's like, you can just read the ingredients and find out. So here it is. Water is the first ingredient. And they're listed in order of what is the most by weight. So water, wheat gluten, faba bean protein, canola oil, salt, natural flavor, and then this is where it gets into the less than 1% of spices, garlic powder, onion powder, pomegranate concentrate, yeast extract, sunflower lecithin, which is in almost anything, and then fruit and vegetable juice color. So, I mean, yes, it is a processed food, but I feel like people talk about these things like there's arsenic and red 40 and like crazy, horrible, harmful chemicals and all of that stuff. Like, wheat gluten and faba bean protein make up probably 80 to 90% of that stuff, along with the water, like not counting the water. So like, I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Maybe it is. We'll find out when I'm 80. But I'm going to be 80, you know? So I made a sauce with hummus, peri-peri sauce, and then oat milk to like mix it up. It's really good. Honestly, oh yeah, beets too, grilled tomatoes. So yeah, this is delicious. So I'm just gonna eat this in about an hour. I'm gonna go train. And then we got a fully booked calendar tonight. 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 7. It's a good day. Good day. 4 clients, 4 or a CrossFit class and 3 clients. It's not tomato season, but what are you gonna do? All right, well, I'll see you probably when I'm at the gym. So I got kind of like a weird time situation here where I could get to the gym now, but I would have this awkward time period between. And usually this would be a time where I'd like sit on my phone and scroll or like watch mindless YouTube videos and just try and kill time. But something I used to do when I had my life completely together was during these times I would actually meditate. I would set a timer for 20 or 30 minutes or whatever, and I would just lay down, breathe deep, and just let my mind wander and think about whatever it wanted to think about. And if it was a bad thought, I would try and release it and think about something else, or try and release it and just focus on my breath. And I think I'm gonna do that. So I think I'm gonna meditate for a little bit, 25 minutes probably, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get to the gym. So we got kind of a killer workout today. Deadlifts, love deadlifts. Deadlift, I think, is my favorite strength movement. I'm following a Wendler 531 program. I'm on the 3 block, so I will be working up to 3 working sets of 3 at 75, 85, and 95% of my 1 rep max. My 1 rep max right now is resting around 435. Ugh, I don't know why I'm just burping. There we go. So 435. And so that puts, I don't know, I always have to redo the calculations and stuff, but that is what I will be doing today. And then followed that with a pretty brutal CrossFit workout. We're gonna be using the Echo bike. Oh gosh, I just solidified it. Sometimes I usually use the rower because the rower is easier than the Echo bike, but we're using the Echo bike and we're doing more deadlifts. So it's like a certain number of calories on the Echo bike followed by a certain number of heavy deadlifts. I will try to do it RX for the performance workout. So that would be 315-pound deadlift for 20 reps, and then 15 reps, and then 10 reps. And then in between that, I think I'm doing 50 cals, 40 cals, 30 cals, or something like that on the Echo bike. So yeah, it's a burner. I think it's a 15-minute time cap. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. I'll stop yapping and start working.
Yeah, that's the warm up. So what's kind of cool is it was 2 1-minute easy bikes and 2 30-second like hard cardios. It said sprint. I just went hard, I didn't necessarily sprint. But I got to 48 cals. So that's 3 minutes to 48 cals. I don't know, 12, 10, yeah, 10. Say 45 cals probably. I got an extra cal or 2 maybe from rollover. All right, I'm gonna get my deadlifting place set up and then I'm gonna change because I'm hot now. I'm hot. Just like yesterday, I had this Bobo right before this as a little fuel, little carbs, little sugar, little good stuff. And then I had K's, the pre-workout. Let me show you. So yeah, this stuff, it's my buddy's company. It's just literally 2 ingredients, matcha and pineapple. I think matcha's really slept on. It's just like a pre-workout. It's got L-theanine, it's got caffeine. It feels really, really good. And because you're digesting the caffeine as a food source, it's more like sustained. It's not like a huge spike and then a huge crash. And when I'm doing these high intensity workouts, it's the perfect pre-workout because like, I don't know if you guys get this with other ones, but like my face starts to itch and I start getting all like 1,000-yard stare-ish and anxious, and match that with like really high intensity workouts. It's a recipe for an anxiety attack or disaster, just giving up halfway through the workout because my heart rate's way too high. So this is the shit, honestly. I've got a code in the bottom if you want to help out my buddy and buy it. Because yeah, it's the good stuff. He knows so much about matcha, it's crazy. He gets it from Japan, Spring Harvest, he knows about all the strains and stuff. I still need to learn about that stuff so I can tell you guys about it, but trust me, this dude knows what's up. And then I just mix it with some maple syrup, and I already drank it. This is just a little murky from the leftovers, but I mix it with maple syrup to make it a little sweeter because I got a bit of a sweet tooth. But that's almost nice because you can choose how sweet you want it. Like if you just want the natural sweetness, then that's it. If you want a little sweeter, some maple syrup or mix it with a liquid IV. But yeah, love this stuff. Again, still getting back into it after I was sick. So this feels heavier than it normally is. I might have to modify the workout. Honestly, that might be my workout weight because God, this feels heavy. Oh, this is gonna be the final warm-up set. This will really determine how this workout's gonna go. If this feels as heavy as the previous one, then I think it's just, I'm getting used to deadlifting again after being sick. Granted, I deadlifted last week still anyways, so I don't know. But we'll try it. That actually felt pretty decent. If you guys don't know how like Training Max and stuff works, I'm gonna make it real simple for you. Training Max is 90% of your 1 rep max. And that's what I base my numbers off of. So this is going to be 3 reps at 75% of my training max. All right, it's starting to feel lighter, actually. I think the pre-workout's kicking in. I'm getting that little extra energy. I'm getting that focus. Caffeine is also like a natural analgesic, which is just a fancy word to say that it dulls pain. So, yeah, felt good. All right, let's throw 40 more pounds on. All right, here we go. The 3 minutes went by quick. Grip, weak knees, focusing too much on the grip. So I'm gonna try and pull just one more. I chalked up and I'm gonna go mixed grip. Mixed grip mixed with sumo feels really weird. But yeah, I mean, I guess I'll just try it, see if I run into interference. Yeah, that felt easier. Man, this is when I have to remind myself that, like, it's supposed to be heavy. It's supposed to be really hard to lift. It doesn't feel good sometimes, though. Sometimes it feels awesome. But yeah, I'm still recovering. But I mean, like, you can only take so much time off the gym. It's like a week and a half. It's been a week and a half since I got sick. A week and 5 days since I got sick. So, like, I mean, you can't just wither away. Can't let yourself weaken. I'm healthy enough to move. So you just got to start lifting again at some point, you know? I'm gonna get a belt. Bummer. Yeah, I think I'm still sick, man. Should have been not easy. Should have been easier. But all right. All right, so I decided I'm gonna go Ford RX. We got 60 cals on the Echo bike. We got 20 deadlifts. And then we've got 30 cals on the Echo bike, 10 deadlifts, 15 cals on the Echo bike, 5 deadlifts. 16-minute time cap. We'll see if I finish.
Oh, that was a 15-minute time cap.
All right, starting this over. This is a better angle. I just got back from Qdoba. I had a bomb-ass burrito, guac, veggies, beans, the tofu that they scramble up, pico, corn, you know, just a ton of plants and deliciousness and awesomeness in that food. So good. Really, really big fan of what I just ate. It was huge too. Like I know people think that Chipotle often like skimps them, and I've seen the pictures, I believe them, but man, that burrito was massive. Maybe I'll have to go again like tomorrow or the next day and see if they skimp me this time. But I don't know if you guys could tell, but that workout was so freaking hard. I found out afterwards that those cals were written for the assault bike. The assault bike is a lot easier than the Echo bike. And so that workout was probably about 10 to 15% harder than it was supposed to be. On top of that, from being sick and just feeling weak and stuff, 315 was just not moving like I wanted it to be moving. And I'm in my car talking about this now instead of there because some of the people that were in the next class were walking in, and I'm still getting used to filming in public and all of that sort of stuff. And I just had to get ready for class. So yeah, that was that. But oh my gosh, that was so hard. It was just, I mean, yeah, at a loss for words, but I finished it in 14 minutes and 27 seconds, which I think was pretty good. I thought it was a 15-minute time cap, so I really rushed those final deadlifts. I don't know if you thought this about the last one, but the last one may not have counted. I was losing my grip hardcore, and there might have been like a 1/4 inch of hip extension that I didn't get. You might think that there was more hip extension that I didn't get, but I don't know. You can't please everybody. And then also, I'd like to talk about sumo versus conventional. People think that sumo is easier. Some people think sumo is harder. Some people think conventional is the only way to deadlift. Here's the truth. This is the almighty truth. I am saying it now. A deadlift is taking a dead weight off of the ground and bringing it to your hips with a hip hinging motion. That's a deadlift. So if it's sumo, if it's conventional, if you're doing more of a clean deadlift, if you're doing a Romanian deadlift, if you are, the Romanian's actually a little backwards, but whatever. If you are doing single leg, whatever, it doesn't, just a deadlift is a deadlift. So don't get so caught up in sumo versus conventional. There's a bunch of idiots online that will scream or type their heads off until the dogs come home or whatever the saying is. But yeah, that was the whole workout. I did very well, I think, for how I felt. I think I could have done sub 14 full health. But yeah, I mean, that's just coming off of being sick. I can't wait to show you guys the fitness that I have, the potential fitness that I have, and all on a plant-based diet. So, you know, yeah, it's cool that you can just run off of plants and like excel in fitness just by eating plants and not having to consume animal flesh. Kind of a pointless side note, but I think that's kind of cool. All right, I'm rambling now. I'm gonna go. That's probably the last thing I'll eat tonight. Maybe I'll make a mug cake. If I do, I'll show you, and then I will be going to bed, but this might be the last update for the night. So, peace. So I didn't want sweet dessert. I wanted savory dessert. So boom, look at that. Made a grilled cheese. It's got like Violife cheese in it. It's made of like coconut oil and shit like that. Not nearly as good as real cheese. Probably not as good for you as real cheese. But damn. It is good. People always say like, oh, if you're vegan, then why do you try to imitate the animal foods that make it make sense? And the way it makes sense to me is that a lot less harm, with not no harm, obviously harm is done to the planet when you consume things. Consuming things is bad for the environment and bad for the world, but also it's not, because if you're consuming something, then you are hopefully using it to then make the world a better place. But consuming this has most likely caused a lot less harm to sentient, emotional beings. And so that's why I eat it. Does it matter that it tastes like something that caused harm to emotional, sentient beings? Doesn't matter to me at all. It's like we watch TV shows where people are getting murdered and cheated on and all that sort of stuff. It doesn't mean we want to do that, and it also doesn't mean we want to watch that happen in real life. But when you create something that imitates that and imitates the emotions that you would feel if something like that were to happen in front of you, it's pretty tolerable, right? It's pretty enjoyable, entertaining. It is tasty. It's what I care about. And it's a nice little dessert, like a savory dessert to me. Also, I discovered why everything felt so heavy today and why I haven't felt as fit. I stopped taking creatine like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I just started taking it again yesterday. I think I'm just deloaded off of creatine. And creatine improves performance by about 5%. And so that would make sense as to why 385 just felt a little too heavy. Like 5% of 385 is 15, 20, close to 20 pounds. And so that's why I felt like 20 pounds heavier than I should have. So I just got to load back up on creatine, and then I should be lifting heavy again and feeling a little more full. Like I just haven't felt as full, you know? And that's like the only thing that has changed other than being sick. Being sick and being completely deloaded off of creatine now. I think those two in tandem have just created a really tough time in the gym. So that is good to know. But yeah, I'm just gonna finish this up, and that is the day. I'm gonna upload this, shoot this into the computer, try and have it out by noon tomorrow, and the cycle will continue. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. I love you, and I will see you tomorrow.